Tabletops will start after the following messages.
Hey cool people, do you like mead, magic, and long walks in the icy tundra? Ever wonder what your sled dogs are thinking about? Why not cap off your night with a frosty tabletop adventure?
You will come to love my beef cliff.
You're at the common room. Go to your room.
Excuse us.
Excuse me, Dogcliff. What's your favorite food?
Sausages, probably.
No, you look like a strong lot, but I've got more friends than you.
Carnelian's like shortened on the ground and he's standing on top of the table.
You know what you have to do.
You know what you have to do.
Carnelian stabs him in the butt.
What did he say?
He likes sausages.
Oh my god, me too.
Alright, I'll sit beside Word and start carving his rod.
Oh my god. Sveta, my rod's nearing completion by the looks of things.
Unless the four of you can stop them.
Well, grab your Ugg boots and join Reflex Save every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform.
Hi, my name is Mike, and I'm from the Old Ways Podcast, here to introduce you to your next favorite show. What is the Old Ways Podcast? It's a weekly tabletop RPG show in actual play format where a group of amazing role players serve up new experiences in homebrew and published scenarios. Well over 500 episodes of beautiful, fully produced actual play content for you to enjoy. Check us out, the Old Ways Podcast. Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tabletop. It's a new year. A fresh new year opens before us. We are able to play any TTRPGs we want. And today we're going to discuss the ones that we are excited to try out in the new year. So why don't we go around and tell who is here? I bet you have a pretty good guest listener, but why don't we start with you in the orange hat?
Heyo, it's me, Rio.
Hey, Rio, what's up?
Vibing and thriving. I just said that recently, so I feel like it's redundant, but you ain't hear that on the radio, listener.
Rio started it. You all have to give some sort of like status that rhymes like that. So who wants to introduce themselves next?
It's me, Franco, blanking and skanking.
Yeah, that's what I always say about Franco.
Doing the skank, yeah.
You know, two things about Franco. You know, he's blinking and he skanks.
Yeah. I just showed my little brothers, they're 19. I just showed them ska. I showed them
Hell yeah.
So it makes me think of skanking.
Did you show them Real Big Fish?
No, I should have, but no, I just showed them Superman by Goldfinger, which is of course classic.
a classic. So my fiance and I were walking
we'll
through.
never meet the fourth one.
I know we won't, but we'll come back. I promise. We were walking downtown Burlington, Vermont during this summer, and we heard this like really beautiful kind of like string quartet or whatever playing, and then they were like, "Thank you so much. We have one more song," and one of them puts down like the cello, picks up a like upright bass. Someone else grabs a guitar, and then they start doing an acoustic version of "Beer" from Real Big Fish.
Oh my god, beer's so good.
It was so good. We just like stumbled upon this little ska concert. It was amazing. All right.
Go ahead.
Just to get our final contestant in here. Who are you?
Hi. The dulcet sounds of Shade.
Oh no, Shade.
With my totally normal voice.
It's totally fine. We're totally all recording.
Oh, I remember hearing you.
Do you have a rhyming status saying for us?
I'm sick but not quick.
Wow.
Nice. I always say that about you too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm real slow. Just a real sick guy.
Man, he's sick but not quick. You know what I mean?
He's mad ill.
Yeah.
He's like, if we were in a herd, he would definitely not make it through predator.
Oh my god.
Leave him behind.
What the fuck?
You know, I don't mind that you acknowledge that I'm sick and not that quick. It's the way you look at me sadly when you say it.
I'm going to miss you when you're getting eaten, but I appreciate you giving me another season to
rhyme too.
Live and make a new generation of wild
Rio, you're just cranking
babies.
out these rhyming sayings. It's great.
It's what I do.
It's a Southern man.
Yeah.
Southern man sayings. What was the one that you made up
man.
about the tree? I thought that one was very good.
Oh God, what was this like? Oh, he's not growing tall, but he's growing long. Or
Sideways, maybe.
Or going wide, or
something about sideways. Or
my favorite Rio fake Southern expression is, "That boy is about as useful as a screen door in a heat wave." Something like that. It was amazing.
That's real. What are you talking
that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Just because it's like it
You open a door to cool out the but I don't know if that one was what I actually said.
Pretty useful.
It's a screen door on a submarine, I think, is the classic saying.
Okay.
Gotcha. And then there's another one about boots, and like that boy wears boots, but they ain't dirty, or something like that.
Oh yeah. That's what it was.
He's never got no mud on his boots.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Is that expression? That one I remember.
Well, now that we've really gotten those out of the way, why don't we talk about?
Oh, the first one was like he's growing like a tree, but sideways.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the TTRPGs that we are excited for in the new year? We're going to go around, faithful listener, each one of us telling each other about one. We'll talk about it a little bit, and we're going to go around twice and then end with a lightning round. Who would like to go first?
Should we go in introduction order since we
absolutely, Rio. Hit us with your first one.
Rio just wants to go first.
All right. I just like to be the center of my own attention. So here's a book that I bought 2 years ago, and I've not run it yet. It's a little setting called Shadowrun. If you take what you like about modern fantasy classics like Dungeons and Dragons, Lord of the Rings, and then you add capitalism and just random like tech stuff. I really feel like in my heart I should be more of a sci-fi fan than I am. And so I'm gonna try to like jump in and do some sci-fi.
This also really tracks for me because Rio, you've always wanted to do a campaign set in like a ruined Boston or like a futurist Boston or something.
Yeah.
You've been talking to me about wanting to like make a map of Boston, but it is basically like the different neighborhoods and I guess boroughs of Boston are all their own kind of fiefdoms and all that kind of stuff. So
what I always come back to is the visual I have of the tunnels being like safe for people like walking about.
Yeah.
And then you come out of the Boston subway tunnels and it's all just like overgrown and just dangerous to be topside.
So you want the feeling of the first 15 minutes of any Fallout game of that, like you're leaving the vault and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, but except like the hub of the like
universe.
I don't know if the tunnels could hold a village, but like imagine that they could.
Yeah. I mean, different train platforms are fairly big, depending on which one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking right now, Downtown Crossing, if you lock it up, you could probably...
I mean, it even has like places for shops and stalls and stuff.
That's true. Yeah, that are never used.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
All right, so we have Shadowrun being the first one. I will say I don't have a really good sense of Shadowrun. My only experience with it was when I was a kid. My mom would take me to the local video rental store to rent a game for my birthdays, so that all my friends and I could play this brand new game that we didn't buy. And we would go. And one year I was like, Shadowrun, this looks so cool. Is that a Minotaur with a Gatling gun and also like magic and stuff? And I was like, this looks amazing. I brought it home and it was Xbox Live only. So none of us could play the game. We just like sat on this couch together being like, oh, so we just don't have a game to play.
Dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
But also I would say like what got me into the idea of it is that Netflix movie Bright. If you've seen that.
I was going to ask if you had watched that.
That's very similar to the feel of Shadowrun as far as I can tell.
Bright?
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
it's called Bright.
It's Will Smith.
Yeah, with Will Smith, and there's
Will Smith.
orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Franco's like, wait, that one?
I mean, there's also that Disney movie that's about the two elf brothers who are they've got like their
Onwards?
father's bottom
Yeah,
half.
Onwards.
Oh yeah. Bottom
Yeah.
half.
Oh God, I know I've seen that, but I can't remember it.
Yeah.
It starred everyone's favorite voice actor, Chris
Oh my
Pratt.
God, he's such a talented voice actor. He's like a chameleon.
He just
My
disappears
God.
into the character.
He just disappears into the characters. Wow.
And then also Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom
Okay.
Holland.
My other favorite voice actor. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be a voice actor.
Yeah. It's hard,
I
man.
still do.
Yeah, it seems so cool. I just love voice actors. I think they're so great.
Yeah, if I could go back in time and choose any medium to like get really good at instead of acting, it would be animation, because then you can kind of make a whole thing by yourself. Because if you
That's true.
know how to do voice acting, and stuff.
Absolutely, you can't. Do you know how many animators it takes to make a feature?
I'm not saying that you
Bro,
have to.
you are living with your eyes wide shut, my guy.
I'm not saying that I can put up like Adventure Time or like a full movie. I'm saying like I could make little animations and complete them by myself.
Yeah. I've never been more offended by your optimism.
Deep Blue Ink, famously puts together a couple minute animations of things from Drawfee. Those are fun.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay. We are getting far off track. Shadowrun was the first one.
Wow. What 30 minutes and we've only gotten Shadowrun. I'm going to go with Dolmenwood because I actually backed it. The other things on my list, I don't think I backed all of them. Yeah, so Dolmenwood is like a fairy tale world. It is the sort of the basic setting for Old School Essentials, which is the retro clone of Basic and Expert Dungeons and Dragons. So basically, like Dolmenwood was put out in a couple of zines and stuff over the years, and I don't know how old it is at this point, but it's definitely like at least like 5 years old or something. But they finally they're putting together like a campaign book, a player manual, and then like a rule set that is like kind of like OSE, like kind of like BX, Basic and Expert, but it's there's a couple of things that's like, we may just made some decisions, and then they might be taking the OGL out of it. I'm not sure, but maybe they're not.
Is that just are they just doing an electronic release, or are they doing physical copies?
No, I got the whole box set that's coming. It's 3 books, and then I think it comes with 6 adventures. Maybe it's cool. 4 adventures or something like that. I don't know, but I got like the whole set that gets me Winter's Daughter, which is a fantastic adventure that I kind of ran for you guys, that I really want to run in full one day, and then a couple of other Dolmenwood adventures. But it's a really cool setting. Like you can play as like goat people and all this stuff, and it's just like the setting itself I thought was very fun. Like I really wanted to do it. Like I really wanted to use it, but I don't intend on using OSE or Dolmenwood rules. I intend on using like a Cairn, like probably like Cairn or something, or like a hack or something that I'll make to base that off of, and then like take all the ancestries and stuff and try to modify them. Cool. But the setting seems very cool, so I'm excited about it.
Does the setting pull from like Grimm's fairy tales in that kind of like fairy tale setting?
I don't know. I don't really think so. It's very much like fairy though, like lots of fairy stuff.
I always love talking to you, Franco, about like what TTRPGs you're excited about, because you're never like, I want to like play this game. You're like, I want to hack the shit out of this game.
Yeah. My second thing is actually a game that I've hacked together.
All right, Shade, how about you? What's yours?
So again, this isn't something that's like releasing next year or anything, but I am excited to play Wander Home, hopefully. And it is a game that has some solo capacity, so I could maybe just play
try it out
on my own. But it's a game that's kind of like Humblewood in that it does focus on anthropomorphic animals, and honestly kind of like your game specifically about Humblewood, because they are animals who are journeying to find a home.
Oh man, Redwall Abbey books before the Redwall Abbey.
Well,
Brian Jock.
I think that the setting too, isn't it like kind of between wars, between strifes, like that type of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
That is true. So there's a big difference from your game in that it is a peacetime for the game, and it doesn't necessarily have to be to find a home. The focus of it is really about the journey itself. You determine what that journey is, whether it's journeying for the sake of journeying, or trying to find a new home, or trying to return to your original home. But I really, it's a very interesting token based RPG, and very much a narrative story driven RPG. So is the kind of thing that I could see myself just enjoying as a thought exercise more than anything.
One thing that I have heard about this game is that it is very hard to run, or like it's very hard to get like so all I've heard about it, I guess, is that because it is very much about like the journey and the interactions between these characters and a little bit more of like the feelings of it all, you know what I mean? That it can be hard to get kind of like a cohesive campaign or like session all the way through, because some people aren't very good at that, and that's the only thing that I've heard about it. But I've also heard on the other side of like that it is essentially like a big hot mug of hot cocoa, like that it is just like a really nice experience to go through. So
yeah, and it's that's part of the reason I think while it would be great to play with you all, I think it might be something that's just good to try out on my own first. Because I have a lot of wanderlust. I would love to just if I can just walk around a place and just do nothing but walk and get lost, and then wander into new shops, wander into oh hey, that's a place that has food and beverage. I would love to. That's like my ideal day. There was my birthday last year, actually, in 2022 rather, and I think Jackie had to work or something, and so we were like, hey, we were getting ready to go to Scotland because we were going to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary shortly after. And,
the whiskey anniversary.
Yeah, and instead of like spending the day together specifically, I was like, hey, you do your work, I understand. I didn't have work that day, and I was like, I spent 12-13 hours just wandering from end to end of like Boston and Somerville, and just traveling down streets that I didn't necessarily immediately know, and that's something that I really vibe with. But I don't find that too much in TTRPGs. I think exploration is always the weakest pillar in any TTRPG system. It's just not one that I feel is captured very well. But I've heard that maybe it's because this is such a narrative game, this does kind of get that. So I'd be interested in seeing and testing it out.
You'll have to tell me, because if it does do it right, I want to hack the shit out of it, because I've always struggled with exploration as well. I've never found it very compelling. It feels very and it's never the GM's fault. It's just that the boundaries in which the game puts up is always very destination oriented rather than the experience of going wherever you're going. So I'd be really interested in hearing that. And also, I always love you talking about this wanderlust you have, because it was something I didn't know about you until we all went to one of our cabin trips. And it led to you being locked out of the house at like 3 a.m. because you just like wandered out into the woods for a while.
Oh, no. That just to reflavor that was Jackie and Rio.
Gotcha.
I actually was just prepping for the night, or for the the next day. But I was up late working on stuff, and Jackie,
your lovely wife,
for whatever reason, decided to lock the door to our bedroom. And it took me a while to find a screwdriver to pick that.
You're like, I gotta go to sleep. I'm running a game tomorrow.
I was pretty tired, so yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know she locked you out.
That's so funny.
I didn't until it happened. But yeah, you guys were out howling at the moon and finding bears and things like that.
Yeah,
If it makes
you
you
know,
feel
and
better,
meanwhile-
if it makes you feel better, me and Nick also didn't get any sleep.
that's a different reason though.
What were
we
you
don't go
two
there
up to?
anymore.
We tried very hard to get sleep, but it was very hard.
Yeah, because everybody else kept waking up and banging on doors and shit.
We literally, like, at one point, I remember like looking over to Franco and seeing your eyes just wide open, and we were just like had this moment of like, oh my god,
I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. It's
Both of us had like, you know, sound
Yeah.
muffling things and like all of
Yeah.
that stuff, and we just like couldn't manage it.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it probably didn't help that I was lumbering around the house in my 6.
That was a good
That was
callback.
part of it.
All right, my turn. All you motherfuckers are ready.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, Rio. What was it?
I was gonna say before we move on,
Such cursing.
Shade. Does the name Harvey Fierstein mean anything to you?
Yeah. Could you like? But I don't know why.
I'm saying like
in my-
you got that sound right now. It's really struck me that you sound familiar. It's like that's Harvey.
Okay,
Harvey
thank you. The
Fierstein.
actor. The actor.
Yeah, not
matchmaker,
to be confused with
matchmaker, make me a
Harvey
match.
Weinstein, notorious criminal.
Or
Right, and that
Firestone
was,
tires, which is what I thought of first.
Yeah,
You know, the ones that exploded.
I can hear that. I was once told, because I think they've been in movies together. I was once told by a client who was, I'm much nicer than I need to be with a lot of people. But
No.
yeah, I also tend to have very expressive eyebrows. And I think I was just like trying to like nod and smile and, you know, give her my attention. And I arching my eyebrows in the way that I am now. But for those who can't see, it's the inner bit is up and the exterior bit is down. And
Good radio, great radio.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, you look like everyone ever tell you look like Nathan Lane?" And I was like, I don't know, 25, 26 maybe at the time, and I was just like, "Oh, no one's ever told me that in my entire life," and I really thank you.
Can I just
and not to knock Nathan Lane, but not someone that I was super excited to be compared to in that moment. As a guy who was feeling like, you know, sort of fit at the time.
Can I just say, I mean, he is a wonderful performer, but I will say that is a thought exercise or like a thing to say that is always the wrong thing to say. Just never say, hey, you remind me of someone. Oh, you look exactly like this person, and then show a picture or whatever, because there's only ever two responses. One is, oh yeah, I guess I can kind of see it, or no, I don't see it at all. And neither of those are really satisfying answers. So you are really putting a really awkward moment out there for really
Well, yeah. Also, the other thing is like the two options are just like kind of like, yeah, you kind of look like this guy, and he's I don't know, just like whatever, or like you look like this person, and they're really hot.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it was the first time that I had ever gotten one of those that wasn't on the side that was a little more flattering in my mind, and it was just like oh man, this is really one of my worst days at work.
It is.
I hate this person. I hated this person so much already, and then for that,
you just said I look like Nathan Lane.
I will say that there is a moment.
I think my response.
There's a moment in every person's life as they get older where you go, because everyone experiences these questions too. You always go from exactly what you were saying of like the ingenue love interest to the character actor eventually.
Yeah. And
oh my God.
You know, I think I did say something like, "Oh no, no one's ever said that. Thank you. I guess I have a big meerkat energy about me." Anyway,
wow.
Can I move you along? I don't want to talk to you.
That's
anymore.
smooth as shit, dude. Actually, nice work. I got big.
Anyway, thank you. Hey Nick, what's a game you hope to play in 2024?
I'm so glad you asked, Shade. Thank you. Y'all motherfuckers aren't ready for this. I'm so excited.
I'm not fucking
wow, the language.
I backed this like fully a year and a half ago, or my fiance did for my birthday, but it's called Old Gods of Appalachia, based on the hit horror podcast, and I finally got my physical copy. It's in my house right now, and boy howdy, is it beautiful. The material is great. It's not going to fall apart after a single use, Franco. And like, man, the art inside is just so stunning. It really is, puts you into like, you are in a folklore, set, or a folk tale set in Appalachia. It is really cool. The amount of customization you can do is really interesting. And also I think, Franco, it does a lot of what you're really interested in, where everyone is kind of similar, but the main differences between the different classes when they start is like what equipment they have to address the problems that they face. Like you can start as a miner and you start with like a lamp and maybe a little extra money, but you also have like a pickaxe and you're super strong, and so like that is going to help you get through stuff. Whereas if you're like a librarian, you have access to like a lot of the old books of the town or the histories and stuff, and so it's just like a really interesting system that I'm really ready to really dive into.
What kind of rule set is it?
They made it on their own, so it was completely like self-published and everything. But let me look up if it uses a core system. So Old God.
There's no shame in using core systems.
Yeah, there
they
really
exist
isn't.
for a reason.
Not at all.
Let me see. System.
What was the one that Critical Role
system.
came up with? The Zephyr system?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is what they based this thing on, and also the monsters that come with it and everything are so fucking brilliant. Like, there's this stag that has glowing antlers and is sort of both like a nature spirit, but also in this kind of world or setting. You really don't want to be part of or like see any spirits at all, because they only ever help you out of sort of like kind of like half interest, but they never do it out of your welfare. It's always like, oh, I kind of want this other thing to happen. It kind of aligns with this. So they lend you power and you're like, oh, this is great. I get to do this thing. But most of the time it just is like, oh, I have seen this spirit. I'm going to be destroyed. Which is like my favorite type of thing of like, oh, you don't actually want to look into the dark because there's horrible things in there and none of them care about you. So that's my first pick of the new year.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that as well, and desperately want to play that.
Yeah,
game. It looked very fun.
I'm excited. It comes with its own character sheets and all that you can photocopy, and also it's just like really up my alley with the type of stuff that I seemingly like to run. So it seems like it'll be a real perfect fit for me. All right, everyone. Round 2. I hope you have your next choices ready. Rio, we're coming back towards you.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm perfectly ready. This is another one that I also backed on.
Man, it's the year of Kickstarter backing, too.
This was, it's called Obojima. Yeah. Tales from the Grasslands. It is like a Studio Ghibli sort of setting. It just looks very bright, very cheerful. It's got like the thing that drew me in. Well, the first thing that caught my attention was the brewing system. They got a lot of stuff like, oh, you can find things to make potions, and it's like really cutesies. And then the thing that was like, yeah, I'm gonna give them 85 of my dollars. Was that they have instead of trying to explain how characters would get new items out in the wilds, they're just like, oh yeah, some wizards left vending machines
I
everywhere,
love that.
and they have spirits that guard them and maintain them. And I was like, I want to play in a vending machine world so bad. So yeah, very cutesy, lots of big monsters to fight. I like fighting big monsters. And then, spirit guardian vending machines.
Yeah.
I'm all in. It should be out and published in September of this next year. So just gotta sit and wait and hope for the best. But it's what I'm like most excited to get my hands on.
Do you think that if the system feels good, that you're going to finally make the switch out of using 5e as your core system?
That is isn't it?
Oh, is it a 5e? Like kind of like
yeah, it's a 5e.
Oh, okay. So it's perfect.
It's a 5e system. Yeah, it's also still right there.
Yeah.
Don't
have to teach anyone anything. It's always good.
Yeah, well, people hate learning.
I'm very excited about that as well, Rio, and I desperately ask you to just go ahead and run a game out of there.
That would be very fun.
As soon as I get it,
be on board. Yes, please.
What about you, Franco? Second choice.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird one. I was debating which two games, but I actually started playing this other game already. So I have made a hack that is a Cairn hack that is kind of also based on Monolith and Meteor, which are also Cairn hacks. For basically Meteor is a hack for Cairn for playing Mothership games, and Mothership is a separate system which looks cool, but I don't really want to play it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like did another hack based on that, just like for my home game. And so I'm excited to play a sort of a space horror campaign. I'm gonna use a couple of. I started with a pamphlet called the Haunting of Epsilon 14, which my players are currently in the middle of right now.
And I've heard really good things about. I was talking to Steven and he was like,
Yeah.
this fucking rips.
It's a great little pamphlet. And they and so the main thing that I want to do is kind of like, that was kind of like a prelude to, there's like a couple of other pamphlets that I picked up and another adventure that I got, but the main one that I'm excited to run is Gradient Descent, which is a mega dungeon that is basically just like a big AI monster, and it is terrifying and it's creepy as hell, and it's very exciting. And it was created for Mothership, and so basically I tried to adapt the rules for it. I converted all the monsters, and it's kind of difficult to do that because Mothership is very, it's sort of like percentile based, and Karen is very just like roll under, everything hits.
Right.
So
is it so when you say it's a mega dungeon, is it sort of like a procedurally generated thing
No.
that it tells you the like how you generate it, or like how does that work?
No, a mega dungeon is basically just a really big dungeon.
Okay.
So there's like tons of factions inside of it. It's really not that, I guess it's a really short book actually, but it's got tons of levels in it. It's got a lot of complexity in it. There's a ton of faction play, and there is a mechanic for kind of losing your identity a little bit. That, you know, is sort of like, I'll leave it up to the players if they want to play with that or not, because player agency,
like board
that type of thing can be
stuff, because it's space.
Kind of, yeah.
Ooh.
It's like a, basically the factory is like an AI factory that has since like kind of become an independent entity, and like it's kind of like a restricted space like sector, and so like it's protected by like a bunch of like corporate army troops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like run that in order to access the dungeon, and then like if you get past them, they don't actually care, but they won't let you back out because who knows what happened to you in there.
Yeah.
But the main draw of it is that the AI has like the artificial intelligence that runs the dungeon has become so advanced that it's creating these like pieces of incredible technology that are kind of unprecedented in the rest of the world, or in the rest of the universe, I guess. And so people really covet those, and then people also mistrust anybody that comes out of there because they don't know what's happened to them.
Yeah. What a fascinating premise too, of like it is essentially like a classic dungeon of we've uncovered this dungeon and there's like these incredible magical items down there that everyone needs to go. And then this way it's like there's this incredible magical like technology in there and we need to go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would modify that personally, just kind of listening to it. I would 100% like not make them try and stop you from entering. Literally the stopping of entering is just, hey, we don't think you should go in there, but that's your choice. Just so you know, you're not coming back out. Like their entire attention, all the guards are just
they're like customer service robots of like, hey, like you're just not going to have a full experience of the ship if you go in there, because you're never going to be able to come back out.
The part of it, oh man, those they're called troubleshooters, which is a really like the basically the ships that orbit the station are called troubleshooters, which is like a hilarious name because it's like as if though they're troubleshooting technology. It's like no, they're shooting trouble. Because like there are random events that will happen in the facility in the mega dungeon that are basically like 6 troubleshooters show up and they kill everything on site.
Yeah.
So like,
God, you've sold me on this. I want to play this so bad.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this too now.
2024 is the year of space horror. It's the year of sci-fi and TTRPGs. I'm ready.
It seems like it, yeah. Nobody's gonna play Dolmenwood with me.
All right, Shade. What about you?
You oversold the second one too much.
That's true.
So I'm a big FromSoft, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Demon's Souls fan, and a game that was kind of pitched as like a Dark Souls like TTRPG is Print Weaver. Print Weaver is it's a very interesting game because it is your character is based on your own fingerprints, which I it's a fun little kind of quirk to the game. So there's very much a live, die, repeat kind of aspect to it, where okay, your character wasn't able to overcome that, and I don't know. It's really interesting. I know when I looked at it, as someone who likes the Gish sword and spell kind of character, I looked at it and I was like, oh man, my fingerprints are not going to be a play style that I usually prefer for myself, but it will be a play style that's going to be fun just the same.
What? Go back.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this fingerprint character generation.
Oh yeah,
because it does feel like that is like whenever you talk about this, it's like my mind gets hooked on that and stops. It basically does not hear anything else you say because I'm just like, how does that work? Like, what is that?
I don't know what you guys don't understand, but it's fine. Go ahead.
I mean, it's fair. So essentially, there are 4 types that you could be factored into. There's the loop, the arch, the whirl. Those are types of fingerprints. And then there's also obscure, so maybe you're missing a digit.
Because in my head, it was like you put your fingerprint on something, and then those lines go through like stat nodes or something like Final Fantasy.
I mean, kind of. You know, you put your fingerprint onto an ink pad and then onto the paper so that you can reference it, right? And then you're building your character based around that. So, let me see here.
The federal government could take your fingerprints, so why don't your friends do too?
I didn't want to say it because I was like, this just sounds like a way for people to get my fingerprints.
2024, the year of libertarianism in space.
We talked about this last time too, about
it's like,
which one of us has fingerprints in the system.
Have you guys ever played Command and Conquer Red Alert, that series?
Oh yeah.
I think about probably at least once a week Tim Curry going just directly to the camera, I will go where the only place that has been untouched by capitalism, space, and launching out of the Kremlin to the moon. Oh man, great final level.
Anyway, the three fingerprint types represent your, like, a loop it represents strength, an arch represents willpower, and a whirl represents dexterity, and then obscure, if you're missing a digit, is kind of like a free for all or something like that. I don't remember entirely, or no.
Just for our listeners at home, every single person other than Shade is now like looking very closely at their fingers.
It's a really cool game.
They're all missing.
I am going to tell you, because in 2024 we are finally doing my monthly game that I've been trying to get off the. We are going to be doing Print Weaver at least.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. It's just a really interesting game. I mean, it is definitely kind of on the gimmick of the finger prints more than anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, this is going to be one of the few games where it's not like prep a character before you come in. It's like, let's all fucking do this together. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah. And it just was kind of interesting. I wouldn't say that anything about it looked especially like, oh man, this is an interesting and complex system that I've never thought about playing it this way or that way. It's pretty simple stat systems and basic roles and things like that. The world is very Dark Soulsy that they present, and it deals with ink, which is interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. It just is one of I was gonna say I may have kickstarted this game, but I just remembered I've never kickstarted something in my entire life. This is one of many things that I have thought about. Like, do I want to throw a few bucks? I don't know.
It's fine.
I don't.
Shade, let me show you how it's done with my next TTRPG that I kickstarted very recently. Evil Hat Productions or Publications, or I forget what their thing is. They have just recently successfully backed their new project, which is Deathmatch Island, and I'm so excited for it. It's basically a TTRPG that simulates a PUBG style setting, where everyone is dropped onto this island, and they are competing for both sort of like fame and sponsorship from the viewers, but also sort of like creating these sort of Mad Max style roving like gangs of people to try to survive the environment and survive the other contestants, which I think is just very cool. And like when I backed it for I think like $50 or something, and it comes with all of these amazing digital maps that we've like all of us are big map perverts. So it was something that really got to me, where I was like, I have a already pre-registered, like pre-created map of this island that I can customize. Yes, exactly. Shade. Is that from the newest?
It was from the
Planescape,
the D&D movie.
Oh, D&D movie. Gotcha.
I do have the Planescape one.
The Planescape one's so fucking cool.
I want to pull it out.
I'm really excited for this. I find myself, as I continue my TTRPG career, really kind of gravitating towards like modernist games that are set in the modern time and have kind of a modern sensibility. I just find them easier to run because it's something that I relate to a little bit more. Not to say that I don't love fantasy, sci-fi, and all that kind of stuff. It's just like what I tend to go towards is that all my settings are kind of in the real world in some way. And this seems like it's going to allow me to run a really fucking cool campaign just the way I want. So I'm very excited to try that one out as well.
I mean, I love Evil Hat.
They're so good. I mean, they just don't miss.
No, they're all very good. But I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the idea of a battle royale based game. Like, who wants to play
this for our listeners, Shade runs a battle royale based game every year. But I also Shade, something that I found interesting about this when I was kind of reading through the materials is that yes, you can definitely play it as a battle royale based game, but you can also play it as like you are several people who found themselves on the island somehow and are grouping together for safety. You know what I mean? Like you are,
that's
and it's just like a really interesting thing. All of us have now told 2 TTRPGs we're excited for in the new year. Now, surprise, this wasn't pre-planned at all. Let's do a lightning round. Just keep going until you don't have anything else to talk about. I'll start because I'm surprising all of you with this. I want to talk about this game that I found out very recently. It's called Fetch My Blade, and it is a solo TTRPG that you take on the role of a retired old sword master's dog, who is then accompanying the sword master as he re-enters the world and begins to adventure again, is called out of retirement, and you're like the faithful companion. And it's a solo TTRPG that I think would be so fun. They have a huge list of like breeds of dogs that are different classes and everything, but also you can make your own based on whatever you want to do. If you want to be a fantasy plant dog, you can do that as well. I'm just like super interested in it. I just read kind of like a quick summary and my mind has really been hooked on the idea ever since. Rio, what's yours?
I want to look into getting a game of Ultraviolet Grasslands going. It's like a merchant's sort of caravan game. You're trying like Oregon Trail, but in a fantasy setting is what I've taken from it.
Yes.
The map looks really great. It tells you how far things are. And it looks like the goal is to get to the Black City from wherever you start. And so just surviving all of the things that happen to your group as you go.
Hell yeah.
Rio saw it at my house and then instantly bought it.
Yeah.
How about you,
I also
Franco?
would like to play it. So I will go with Rasp of Sand. It looks so cool. It is basically like it's a roguelike because you're a party, you're going into this dungeon, and then when one of you dies, you all get expelled from the dungeon. It's like a water dungeon basically. And then your descendants take on your traits and stuff because when people die, they leave behind sand, and so like every generation is basically you're playing through several generations, and then inside the monsters can like mutate you, like your different backgrounds have like different things and stuff like that. So it's a very cool like sort of like multi-generational spanning like a like campaign basically. Like it could easily fit like a long-term campaign.
I'm into it. It reminds me of like Darkest Dungeon, if you've ever played that game. It's very much similar where it's I think it's a TTRPG, but it's just like you create a party of characters and you have your main character, and all
Like
of the main
Wildermyth.
characters are like just descendants of the family, and so they have genetic traits that pass on and everything. It's very interesting.
That makes me think of Wildermyth as well, which Shade and I have played, which is also very fun.
I've heard good things. How about you, Shade?
Shade's turn.
Yeah. So there's a game that's called Home that I've been kind of thinking about, and I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't know anything about this game until I think Polygon put something out about it a couple weeks ago about their like, hey, games that we really enjoyed in 2023, and I read through it. I was like, oh yeah, it actually. I think the Fetch My Sword was on that, or Fetch My Blade was on that. Home is a haunted house exploration game.
Is it like House of Leaves type stuff?
Yeah, I mean it kind of plays with, so it plays with like a tarot deck, and it's, I don't know, it just kind of caught my eye as far as and another thing, I don't know why anytime I hear anything like this could be a game that's played by yourself solo, I'm like, oh, interesting, because it's so easy to, if I have a few minutes, like I've now played through Baldur's Gate 3 at least once, so the hours of my free time are usually between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. in my life, and so which is why I sound like this, kids. Stay up late.
Just like Nathan Lane.
Yeah. Anyway, that kind of just appealed to me. I was like, oh, interesting, but also it looked like a game that could easily be played with others. It kind of, when I was reading it, reminded me of a genre that I know you don't really love, Franco. The House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, Betrayal.
Kind of.
Betrayal. Ugh, yeah. That game sucks.
Yeah, I know, but it kind of gave me that, but better.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this might be a way to enjoy that. Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I'm.
Nice.
There you go. I'm just gonna throw one last one out just because I really love this publisher. I don't think it's the one you think I'm gonna say, Shade. It's To Serve Her Wintry Hunger, which is another one I own. It is the person who made 10 Candles, and it is basically like there is one person who is lost in a blizzard, and everyone plays the spirits of the blizzard that are trying to kill and sacrifice this person to Winter herself. And it's a zero prep 1 to 2 hour game that I'm really excited to play. Can play up to like 4 players and 1 GM, and I'm just so excited to try to run it because we all really liked 10 Candles. So I would like to try that in the new year.
Yeah, and then also I thought you were gonna say the Monster of the Week
Codex,
add-on.
Ooh.
Codex, yeah, the Codex of Planes,
Codex of Worlds,
Worlds. That's it. Very much my interests align there, and then obviously I love supporting a company that lays off 1,100 people before big holiday season, but I'm tentatively, I'll just say it this way, I'm at least going to be watching with interest what happens to one, with D&D, with the one D&D
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
that's too
idea.
niche for me, dog.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm excited for well, I'm probably not going to play it, but it is very cool, and I suggest people check it out. Mythic Bastion Land by the creator of Into the Odd and Electric Bastion Land. It's basically like an Arthurian legend setting.
Oh, you were yes,
and
yes.
what's very cool is that there's sort of like a time passing mechanic that is like kind of like going through like ages, and so it's all kind of the same thing, but like that sort of like overworld thing is like the ages pass on, and like you become like you go from like being like a young knight to like a mature knight to like an old knight, and so like your stats kind of change a little bit based on that, but like obviously your motivations and your desires and your like social power increase as well, or change or decrease depending on what you do.
Did we talk about this game? I think it was called like Pendragon or something.
Yeah,
but it's like
think
you
Shades
play
mentioned it.
you play as like 3 generations of knights while you are like watching Arthur do his thing.
Huh, that sounds cool.
very cool. Yeah.
It's on the Knave system, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
It might be.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Well,
I
speaking
might
of
be wrong.
Knave 2E is coming out. I backed that
Yeah,
one.
I've got that pre-ordered.
It's I think the cool thing about Knave is I've run it for you guys a couple of times. I don't really want to play it again. I think what I've realized is that I don't like to hit rolls. And I think that's like the main thing that has drawn me to Karen and Into the Odd like games is like just like having to roll to hit is it just feels so bad, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've gravitated towards those games. The thing I want out of Knave is all of the tables.
Same with Workboard. If you're a table pervert, that's where you go.
If you're a table pervert, that shit's good. Cairn 2E is also coming out. The Kickstarter, I believe, or hasn't started yet actually. But the previews are out and stuff. There's like a bunch of like backgrounds and stuff that look very cool. And then like sort of it just kind of like builds on what Karen 1E was doing, and it kind of like adds a lot more like nicer complexity, and then like procedures for like wilderness exploration and for like travel and adventuring and stuff like that.
I was just gonna say I was off on Pendragon. It's based on BRP.
BRP.
Basic role playing system.
Oh, basic role.
BRP.
How about you, Rio? Any other systems you want to rip through?
I'm also looking forward to Ryoko's Guide to the Realm of the Yokai, or to the Yokai Realms. That's just another one. It got kickstarted, so now it's in production. It should be out relatively soon, but that's from what I've gathered is all just like fighting monsters. They've got rules for kaiju.
Ooh,
so it's like that's what I want to steal.
Yeah.
You love big monsters.
I want to fight. I want the rules for fighting.
You want Shadow
50-foot
Shadow of the
monsters.
Colossus.
I want Shadow of the Colossus.
That actually reminded me of another game that I am interested of for at least like grabbing adventures that are written for it. The Yokai Hunter Society. It is, I don't actually know what it's based on, but it says it's based on Tunnel Goons by Nate Tremay. Nate Tremay makes some great shit.
Yeah.
His stuff is so good. I back him on Patreon. So it's based on Tunnel Goons, but it's basically like Japanese setting, yokai hunting, and then I saw some adventures written for it, and I was like, that would be cool. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
And I want to take a look at those.
And like Shade said, I also will definitely pump Codex of Worlds. It's super great. I have the copy, and honestly, I have a reputation on this podcast as only liking Monster of the Week, which feels fairly true. But I will also
Wait, you've played Monster of the Week before?
yeah, just a few times. But I will also say though that like if you are interested in getting a very simple system that can basically like if you're looking to find your new everything system to replace D&D, this expansion allows a lot more of that. Like they have a grim dark fantasy setting, they have a prehistoric setting, they have like all these different things that they've really just like busted out the container it was in, where it was like just a Buffy simulator kind of, and now it is anything you want it to be. And I think it's gonna be really exciting to see what happens with it. And they have a lot of free adventures too, so it's a nice thing to just pick up and learn how to play. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to probably our first episode of Tabletop in the new year. We're recording this in the waning days of December. So waning days.
I didn't want to. I was like, I'm not going to call it.
Waning days.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, so
you mean when you get someone off of being nipple fed?
And only you only use it in that context.
I mean, that's where it's from. I mean,
that's
what you want.
that's what it means, but people use it for other things.
Speaking of breastfeeding, if you want more Tabletop, you can always come back going to tabletoppod.com to send us a question. I am very excited. I really want to try to do for the second anniversary show just a big every single question that comes in, we answer all of them. So please send in your questions. You can DM us on any of our social medias, Tabletop on X, I think, and then Tabletop Pod on Instagram. You can also send us an email at tabletopodcast@gmail.com or the contact sheet on tabletopod.com. So we love you all. Happy New Year, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Later.